You're listening to the tvOS podcast, the podcast for Apple snobs. This is Nica Montford, aka Tech Savvy Diva.
And yo, this is Terrance Gaines, aka Brother Tech.
And welcome to the tvOS show, the show for Apple snobs where we talk all things Apple and then some. Welcome back, everybody, to this week's show. Before we get into the details of what's been going on in the world of tech this week, we want to first thank you all for your continued support of our show. Speaking of our show, on our show this week, we're going to talk all things OS 26.1, from fixes to features. We're going to go through the whole gamut because the whole gamut was released. Also, AI artists are hitting the Billboard charts, and I'm using artists in air quotes because they're not really people. Also, don't know if you've heard about this, but the great rotisserie chicken debate was all up and down the timeline earlier this week, and we're going to round out the show with our tech tip. Again, you can listen and watch and wait and review our show on a couple different platforms, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. If you don't follow us, which you should already be doing, if not, you can just search tvOS podcast and we will come up. Also, you can head on over to patreon.com/tvOScast to get all the details about how you can watch our show live, watch it early, get the exclusive content, and all of those details by heading over to patreon.com/tvOScast. And with that, we're going to jump into the lowdown this week. Like I said, we're going to talk what's been going on with OS 26.1. We talked a little bit last week about the release candidate and what we saw in that version. But now the real deal, the gold bill, the final version is out and available to the public. It actually was released on Monday, November 3rd. And again, we got iOS 26.1 for iPadOS, iOS, Tahoe, which is the macOS, tvOS, watchOS. So a lot to talk about. Before we get into all of the cool, sexy, pretty stuff that we like in the feature department, I did want to take a beat to talk about some of the security fixes, because in this release, we got a full release notes of everything that was included regarding vulnerabilities and security issues in this release. So this list includes things about the stolen device protection, how it can be disabled. We don't want that. A WebKit bug that allows unauthorized keystroke monitoring, and, pretty much things from things we use every day, like your Apple account, and to things that are probably a bit more unknown, some of the core libraries that iPhones and iPads and, all use on the regular. So like I said, this list is extensive. We'll definitely put the link in the show notes, but it's a lot of fixes. And not just, some, quick and easy, not, very much a big deal, but a lot of these are some serious issues. The one that I saw is one of the first ones is about the Apple account, your Apple account, which basically is the driver, which is what everything kind of links to on your iPhone. And it was a way that this vulnerability was a privacy issue where a malicious app could take a screenshot of sensitive information that's embedded in the view. So it's kind of like a little bit behind the veil, things you aren't supposed to see. So it's things like that kind of, gives you a little bit cause for pause. And again, this is on like iPhone and iPad. It's, some issues with the TV remote, audio, camera, contacts. I mean, it's a lot of security issues. And I know we always want to get the updates for the new features, but we always say update for the security issues and the security fixes, if nothing else. Did anything really, I guess, stand out for you on any of these vulnerabilities and fixes that they found and fixed?
No, but I'm confused. You mentioned the Apple account.
Mm-hmm.
That is the headline for this particular fix, but they never say how the Apple account ties into the impact. And again, the impact, according to this that we're reading in 9 to 5 Mac, says a malicious app may be able to take a screenshot of sensitive information in embedded views. What does that got to do with the Apple account itself? I can see on its own a malicious app may be able to take a screenshot of sensitive information, but how does that tie into the actual Apple account?
My guesstimation is a lot of times, I know I use it a lot in your Apple accounts. You have subscriptions that you sign up to. You have your payment information that you have saved that you use when you're purchasing something with Apple Pay. I'm assuming it has something linked to that. My other guess is you could probably, there is a website that you can look up all of these vulnerability IDs that are tagged with that gives you the breakdown of what the vulnerability is. I think probably the goal behind this, giving a very high level simplified view of this, is they don't want to give too much away of the secret sauce that would cause people, I guess, to maybe go in and dig a little bit deeper. But and it says in the embedded view. So when I see embedded views, I'm thinking maybe not something that's on the surface. I don't even know if it's even, I don't even know if it's metadata. I don't know if it's something greater than metadata that it can access. But when it says embedded views, to me, that seems like, things that are kind of under the hood that you have to know what you're looking for to be able to do this, because it doesn't sound like it's something on the surface. So say you screenshot your bank account, like your routing number or account number or something. For me, based on what this says, this embedded view to me seems like it's something a little bit deeper, behind, like I said, behind the, what's the word I'm looking for? Under the hood. That's what I was meant to say.
Right. But the same thing with the Apple TV remote. Same thing with the same instance as the Apple account is the Apple TV remote. It just says malicious app may be able to track users between installs. Are they talking about the physical remote? Are they talking about the Apple TV remote app? And then how does a malicious app, let's just say argument's sake, they're talking about the Apple TV remote app. If you've got an iPad, if you've got an iPhone phone, you can actually swipe down and control your Apple TV, change the channels, change the volume, things like that, right? How does they list it out, but they never explain. Maybe that's for a good reason. They don't want people to be able to dig, but I'm still not finding the connection between the Apple TV remote or the remote app and how a malicious app may be able to utilize or take advantage of the Apple TV remote or app in order to track users between installs. So I'm assuming that maybe they just wanted to give you the high level, but don't want people to dig deep.
Yeah.
But I would assume digging deep is what helps them find these things in the first place.
Yeah. So with the National Institute of Standards and Technology, it's NIST.gov. This is where they pretty much, if you go to NIST.gov and you put in, you can search for a specific type of vulnerability. You can search for a specific type of vulnerability, or if you have the actual vulnerability number, they typically start with CVE dash the year dash some numbers to kind of indicate which one it is. And you can go there and look up the details behind these vulnerabilities. And then it kind of links you to, I guess, other vulnerabilities that it's kind of connected to. So you kind of have to follow the breadcrumbs to kind of get to
so I'm on there.
What you're looking for.
and I'm looking for it, and I got the CVE number for
Mm-hmm.
the, which one is this? Let me make sure I'm looking at the right one. It is for the Apple TV remote. So I
Okay.
copied the CVE.
Mm-hmm.
It took me to that National Vulnerability Database from
Mm-hmm.
the NIST,
Mm-hmm.
and they give me the detail, and it says the issue was addressed with improved handling of caches. The issue is fixed in iOS 26, iPadOS 26, and it just says a malicious app may be able to track users between installs, but it don't say. I'm looking. It doesn't say. Maybe I'm looking too deep into it. Maybe I
So
should.
I looked at the Apple ID one, and
Mhm,
it has another vulnerability that's kind of linked to it, and it has a different number, and
mhm,
it's the exposure of sensitive information to an unauthorized actor. This
mhm.
weakness doesn't seem to be directly linked to Apple specifically, but I this one looks like it may be a broader issue. And I'm looking a little bit further down, and it kind of breaks down the configurations for each iPad, for each yeah, because this one says, yeah, it is, I think, metadata related. I just clicked on one of them, and it kind of gives a reference to a IBM cloud vulnerability. So I think you have to really kind of get in the weeds to kind of find all the details. And like I said, I think they don't really give you too many details, in these release notes, because I guess they don't want people digging too much. But the people who do need to do this, your cybersecurity folks, they are the ones that are knee deep in the details. I remember in grad school, one of the classes I took, they basically teach you how to hack,
Mhm.
in undergrad and grad as well. And, things that you find, you had to go and look them up. And so they'll give you a problem that has the vulnerability built in. Your
Mhm.
job is to sniff out
Mhm.
what the vulnerability is.
Mhm.
Once you find it, you have to go and look it up on this database and get all the details, and you kind of build your report, things from that. So it's one of those things where you have to really get into the weeds.
Mhm.
And if you look at this list, you'll see specific names of people who found these issues, that it relates to. So everybody kind of gets their credit. So a lot of times when these bounty hunters go and find things, and it, creates this entry in the database, and it gets, their number or assigned to it, they kind of get their credit for it as well. Like I said, if you scroll through the list, you'll see specific names. In a couple instances, you'll see, like on one of these neural engine fixes, it says anonymous researcher. So I don't know if that person didn't want to be known, or they didn't know who it was.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
But again, it's a lot of stuff on this list. This is a pretty extensive list of the issues that were fixed in this version. So, like I said, I want to take a quick minute to talk about this before we kind of get into the fun stuff, because if you don't care really about any of the features, it's like, my phone is fine, I don't care, I don't need to update, or your update for the security stuff. We say this all the time, update for the security stuff, because you have no idea, what some of these things tie back to. And again, our lives are on these phones. And if you aren't protecting yourself, then you're going to get yourself in quite the pickle. So,
Yeah, just do the bare minimum.
right, do the bare minimum and get your phone updated so you can have, the fun stuff. Speaking of the fun stuff, let's talk a little iOS 26. So we talked before, with release candidate, about the liquid glass toggle. We talked about the live translation and the new languages that were coming out. I think those were the two biggest things that we talked about last week. for 26.1, iOS 26.1. A couple of other features were included in this. As I'm looking through, nothing. So it has like what? Apple Music mini player, swipe gesture. So when you're trying to go back and forth between different tracks, you can swipe now, I guess, instead of just pressing the button. Apple Music auto mix support over AirPlay. I guess if you're hosting a house party, I guess it makes sense. Holiday time is coming up. If you're playing music from your phone or some other device, you're using AirPlay to play through the TVs or other devices. Sure, you have that. For folks like us who are podcasters, there are some new features on external USB microphones that you can adjust the controls on. Local files saved to a specific location, manual logging of your workout on the fitness app, new camera settings. We talked about that one, the new camera setting to swipe on and off with the lock screen. We did talk about that one. Improved FaceTime audio quality when it's in a low Wi-Fi area, and some different web filters for adult websites. So outside of, I guess, the things that we talked about, the liquid glass toggling, the new support for AirPods and the live translations, and the camera on the lock screen. Those seem to be the most, I guess, eye-catching of the other ones I just kind of listed.
Yeah, probably the one that people are going to be paying attention to the most, which to me, I can't see that much difference, is the liquid glass toggle to where you can switch between clear and tinted or frosted. I think people were complaining that with the liquid glass, you really couldn't see the menus. You couldn't see the options because it was translucent. So therefore almost made it blend in with the background. Like if you're on Safari and you're on a web page that has a bunch of text and a bunch of stuff on it, and then the liquid glass at the bottom of Safari gives you the search bar, gives you some Safari features. A lot of people are saying they can't really see it. So now Apple with iOS 26.1 gives you the option to change it from a liquid glass or clear, they call it clear, or tinted. I switched it to tinted just to see if it was that much of a difference. I can't really tell. It looks the same to me. I mean, maybe there's a little bit of a difference. It ain't enough. I'm in Safari right now trying to toggle back and forth and see which one looks better. The clear, the default one for liquid glass does kind of blur the image in the background, which I don't know that really make a difference. I don't see
I don't have a problem with liquid glass. So all the stuff that they are fixing or improving, I'm like, okay, but I guess don't break what is already kind of working.
And they didn't. It's just it's a little bit frosted. Like the liquid glass is frosted to where it's just a little bit tinted. So therefore it
is not so see-through.
It's not so see-through, and it's more, what's the word? It's blurry? More evident. No, the liquid glass features, like if you're on, best one I can use is Safari, because I'm on Safari, and at the bottom it's got the back and forward, it's got the URL address bar, and it's got the options to where you can share it, make a bookmark, whatever the case may be. Toggling back and forth, I mean, it helps a little bit, but either one, people who really, really hated it, this ain't gonna be enough. Or two, people ain't gonna be able to tell the difference.
It's like, you didn't go far enough. It's like, what? I don't see anything different.
Yeah.
So it's like, 1 and 0, black and white. It doesn't seem to be a whole lot of gray. I have no problem really with the liquid glass. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, another feature was the alarm, when I guess people were complaining about the buttons being too close together, snooze and alarm off. So in iOS 26.1, they have a big orange button, similar
Mm-hmm.
to the color of the iPhone 17 Pro.
Mm-hmm.
Big orange button, and then for the repeat or the snooze. But to stop the alarm, you actually have to slide your finger to stop the alarm, similar to how you used to slide to unlock. Remember how you used to
Yeah,
slide
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
unlock? They've added that to the alarm to where you have to slide to turn off the alarm, but you can just tap the orange button to snooze, or in this case, they call it repeat.
People are gonna complain about that too. Why do I gotta swipe now when I could just tap? Like,
Well,
bro,
people were complaining
pick a
that, oh,
side.
I'm missing work and I'm sleeping in late because the buttons are so. Is people are just going to
Sure,
complain.
that's the reason why. Take a little accountability, people.
Yeah,
It's you can't create something that's specifically custom to each individual person. That's not how any
and
of this works.
I guess. Right. It-
All right. iPadOS 26.1. We talked about the slide over feature. That's back.
mhm,
And that seems to be, of course, it gets the same features that we just talked about for iOS 26, but they get the slide over, which I think is the biggest thing.
mhm,
Looks like Apple Intelligence gets 8 new languages.
mhm.
We talked about local capture. Looks like there's some update with photos. Uses an updated playback scrubber for videos. I'm not sure what that means. I guess I don't know what that means.
Well,
Photos use a updated playback scrubber for videos.
yeah. So the Photos app, if you have videos in the Photos app,
Oh, gotcha.
the updated scrubber to where you can slide your finger and fast forward and rewind. I think that's a little bit more responsive, maybe a little bit more prevalent when you
Oh,
actually try
okay.
it.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Um,
So I'm definitely looking forward to the slide over
Slide over. I
feature
think
on the
that's the
iPad.
biggest thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're trying their best with multitasking on a tablet.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they're trying to, this is the conundrum with an iPad. Is it a computer or is it a tablet, right? And I think with iOS 26, they tried to make it feel like a tablet. I'm sorry, make it feel more like a computer,
Mm-hmm.
but people be swiping. I be swiping on the screen still,
Yeah.
even though I have the Magic Keyboard and it's got
Mm-hmm.
the touch bar in the
Yeah.
middle, to where you can, use your finger and scrub around.
Yeah.
I still touch the screen. So when I'm doing something on the iPad and I want to do multitasking, I'm so used to swiping my finger to show all the different windows that I have open.
Mm-hmm.
iOS 26, they try to make it more dockable to where you can use a mouse or you can use the trackpad if you have a Magic trackpad
Yeah.
to be able to dock the different windows. But muscle memory's already got me. So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to being able to do the slide over for the multitasking when I just want to look at a quick window that I have behind the main
Right.
screen.
Yeah. So like when we're doing the show, I'm using my iPad Pro and I'm using the Magic Keyboard, and I find myself more than not just swiping the actual iPad rather than doing the trackpad because, again, like you said, muscle memory. That's what I'm used to. And I don't know if it's with yours, but I don't know if I need to recalibrate it. But my little mouse, little dot that
Mm-hmm.
does trackpad, it doesn't go the full width of my iPad. It leaves about a quarter, maybe a little bit more than a quarter of the screen where my little trackpad won't go to. It's like it's a straight line, like delineator, like sand, water. So I end up using my finger a lot because I'm like, I don't have time to figure that out, but that's
Oh,
another thing.
maybe
So
that's because of that new window docking thing to where when you're dragging over in that docking area. I don't know.
maybe that could be it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just like, now I'm like just looking at Safari,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, nope, we're not going to let you go any further. I don't know. But again, I'm used to just using my finger anyway, so it's like, it's fine. That works. All right. Next up we have Tahoe. So Tahoe 26.1.
Mm-hmm.
And again, some of the features that we've already talked about, because again, Apple is trying to sync things across the different the different OSs in the ecosystem. And one interesting thing, they've added, Model Context Protocol, MCP. So that's basically a standard that's used by a lot of companies who do a lot of LLM. So if you think of your Anthropics, you think of Block has a good one called Goose. Claude has one. They've brought some of that support not only into macOS. I'm more surprised they didn't highlight that in iPadOS and iOS.
Because it ain't doing nothing. They just say they added support, but it hasn't turned over into something that they can promote or we can actually use.
Right. But on your laptop, you definitely can.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I'd say you definitely can, because I've used Goose before, Claude, what's the other one? Claude Code. I use a couple of different ones that you can use, some web-based ones, some where you just kind of run it from the terminal. So I'm interested to see, I haven't really gotten to play with it yet, so I'm interested to see what this added support really does for the ease of usage and making it better to have it kind of baked into the OS rather than having to install the different ones. Some people have desktop versions, some people have web versions again. Some you have to install it through terminal, and you have to use it through terminal. And these just basically kind of like you're creating basically, honestly, apps, websites through context, meaning typing it, saying kind of how we talked about Sora. I think we talked about Sora.
Coding by text.
Coding by text, basically. All right. Yeah. So I guess it'd be interesting to see how that looks now that is baked into the OS and not just kind of standalone for each of the individual ones. So it looks like that's probably the big one. Some image playground improvements. I don't use that.
They brought the tinted versus clear toggle for liquid display for macOS Tahoe as well.
Okay. I'm trying to see if it's anything else. If you care, they slightly tweaked the icon that's in your file settings, where you kind of look at your hard drive on your Mac. They've changed, tweaked the logo a little bit and removing the port and holes. Okay. Sure. That's kind of, I guess we'll talk about when we get to, I guess we could talk about it here too. The TV, Apple TV icon, is updated as well. It has a little color to it. And I want to say I saw that it has like a new sound, when you kind of go into it, how a little ding, 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 whatever the little sound is, they've given it a new sound. So I guess since they got rid of the plus in the Apple TV Plus, they gave it a visual and audio makeover. They're calling it a rebrand as well. So if you care about that, there you go.
All right.
And what else do we have? I think tvOS and watchOS are the last ones. watchOS. We have a new, we'll talk about it, I guess, in the next thing we talk about, a change with the app that is pretty popular with texting and that type of thing. But back to watchOS. The release note says, one sentence: this update includes improvements and bug fixes. So there you go.
All right.
tvOS. But I don't think, other than the rebrand, was it anything?
Nope.
Some fixes and then the rebrand. And there you go. And that is, I believe, all of the things for the latest gauntlet of OS 26 from Apple.
All right.
I don't think there are any surprises. I think everything that they had been saying, I think that's what we saw. So I don't think it was anything that was too, I guess, surprising.
Nope.
And again, a couple things that kind of stood out. We talked about it, the slide over on the iPad, and the toggle in between liquid glass that I can't really tell a huge difference with. Those were the biggest things. And the MPC stuff on macOS. So, yay. So, yeah, that is OS 26.1 in a nutshell. And even though iOS 26.1 was just released on Monday, the fervor for 26.2 is already at a fever pitch. I think we're already on the second beta, the second developer beta for 26.2. So you don't really get time too much these days to digest what you've just, the intake of new before it's like, okay, what's next? Okay, what's next? So I know you are a smart home guy, and they're, of course, looking around, digging around the code to kind of see if there's anything they can write an article about to discuss. But apparently it looks like there is some indications, some code that's kind of buried in there that people are thinking that Apple may be finally preparing to launch its first smart home device since the HomePod Mini. And I think the HomePod Minis are maybe 3-4 years old. They may be a little bit older, but that's the last release I think in the HomePod space. So yeah, I think this was on my predictions. I think for last year, never happened. So maybe it'll come in 2026. And what they are saying is the hint is that there is a label inside the code that is called first party accessory. And they're saying it's completely distinct from the existing is Apple TV and is HomePod. So this is their indication that there may be some new smart home hardware. Do you buy the hype, or is it just more fodder because they've run out of talking about 26.1?
They've run out of talking about 26.1 because they are reaching with this one. I mean, first party accessory, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
So they're reaching. I mean, it could be true, but I mean,
using this as their hard proof evidence.
Yeah, there's a little information for them to make that big leap. So
yeah,
like you said, they are looking for stuff to write about for the holidays or for, Black Friday that's eventually coming up in the next couple weeks.
Yeah. And again, I don't think this is going to be the one last thing. If there's even going to be not one last thing, one more thing this year. I think if we see something else from Apple this year, I'll be very, very surprised, because they've had a year, let's just say, between Apple Intelligence, between tariffs, between, courting political figures, between trying to make sure the books look good. I don't think we're going to see anything. So if this is in fact true, I don't think we'll see it until the spring event, if there is anything. But again, my guess is they got to find something to talk about because they've already exhausted the 26.1 stuff. And it's only Wednesday and it was just released on Monday. Finally, in the lowdown, WhatsApp. We talked about WhatsApp before because it officially has an iPad app. WhatsApp finally has a dedicated app for your Apple Watch. Typically, you could, I think, respond to WhatsApp from your watch, but it was always directly, it had to be ported over from your iPhone. It wasn't its kind of own
And more importantly,
thing.
you had to reply during the notification. If you got a notification on your Apple Watch that you have a WhatsApp message, it gave you the option to reply. If you didn't reply right then and there,
It's gone.
You lost the opportunity to reply
From your watch. So, full messaging functionality after 10 years has finally come to Apple Watch. So this includes full chat functionality. This includes messaging, voice notes, calls, all of the things that people love about WhatsApp. You got it on your phone, you got it on your iPad. Now you have it on your watch. Do you use WhatsApp enough to, I guess, for this to be kind of like a big thing to be able to do on your watch?
It's enough for it to be a thing. It ain't enough for it to be a big thing. If I'm just replying, okay, or I'll talk to you later, or call me back in 20 minutes. Yes, very useful for that. If I'm having a full blown conversation with somebody or a group, typically I use WhatsApp for group chats. I very rarely, outside of my family, my people live in house, and us with the different podcasts. I mean, you have a chat and I have a chat with Tech John on messages.
Right.
Outside of that, all my other chat messages are in WhatsApp. So as those conversations get deep, I don't see myself using my Apple Watch unless, again, like I mentioned, I'm responding with okay or thumbs up or I love this or
one of the pre-made kind of messages.
Yeah, or I want to leave a voice memo, which I don't do. I wish I did that more. I wish I messaged people with voice chats, but I don't because we grew up with text messaging, and even the kids behind us, like our kids, my kids, they don't use the voice memo thing with us. It's just text back and forth.
Yeah.
So just a side note, I wonder why more people don't use like voice memos as messages. I see them on social media, but that seems like that would be more useful. So you're not texting and driving. So you're not distracted when you're trying to text, but people really don't use it. So I may try to use voice memos a little bit more when I'm texting people. Bring it all the way back to the story is now I can use my watch with WhatsApp when I'm sending voice memos in group chats.
Yep. And I think the whole voice chat versus texting, I think, especially I know with, not the generation under us, but I guess what would be your kids, my nephew, niece's nephew thing, I think it's too personal for them to use the voice thing. I think it's easier for them to text. And then they can't use their funky ass words or acronyms.
But to contest that, they're always on speakerphone. If they're talking to somebody on the phone, speakerphone, they're holding up to the ear and they're talking. Holding up to the ear and they're talking. It's like, all right, well, which one is it? Do y'all want to use your emojis and stuff? Or privacy, like you don't want nobody eavesdropping on your conversation. Well,
right.
I'm gonna need you to put them AirPods in or call them back when you can talk on speakerphone instead of being in the line at the grocery store talking to your people on speakerphone.
Crazy. And that's one of the things that annoy me the most. I saw somebody post on social media that somebody was doing just that on a train or something. And then a person that was near them responded And then the person looked at them like, why are you in my business? And they were like, well, you made it all of our business.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that basically shamed them to be like, okay, I'll call you back later.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So key thing to note, if you have Apple Watch Series 4, goes all the way back to 4, and running watchOS or running watchOS 10 or above, that's paired with an iPhone, it looks like that's what it works with.
All right.
That's the compatibility. So it gives you quite a bit of backwards compatibility going back to Series 4 when we're currently on what, 10 or 11
Of watch?
Yeah, I think we're 11, right?
Well, I mean, you're talking about
The latest version.
It's watchOS 26.
No, not the not the OS, but the watch version.
Oh yeah,
It's
10.
11, right? And
Or
Ultra 2 and Ultra 3.
It's Series 10.
Series 10?
Yeah. Hold
So
on.
maybe I have a Series 9.
Apple.
I don't know why I thought we would already past 10. Anywho, it goes back pretty far, surprisingly, to be able to work on Series 4. So
It's Apple Watch 11.
11. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. If you're a heavy WhatsApp user and you got at least an Apple Watch Series 4, you got full functionality on your wrist. All right, that's going to wrap it up for the lowdown. Let's head on over to Second String where we talk all other tech. AI artists. So these are basically AI generated musicians. I think Timberland has an AI artist, and he came out. People were like, bro, what are you doing? You're Timberland. You could work with real people, actual people. I think he launched his maybe last year or earlier this year. Time is a construct that doesn't really make sense to me anymore. But yeah, but I say all this to say there's a new artist named Xania, Xania Monet. I was like, why did you Victoria Monet is already there and very popular R&B artist. Couldn't you come up with another name? In any event, this artist is apparently very popular because they have landed on the Billboard chart. This is the first AI artist who not only has hit Billboard, but has a major deal. So the person behind Xnia, that's what I'm calling it. I don't know if that's wrong. That's what I'm calling it. Xnia Monet is a woman by the name of Talisha Nikki Jones. She is based out of Mississippi, and she taught herself AI just 4 months ago. And she turned her personal writings, poems into songs. And the funny thing is, because I saw when this kind of first came out, people were talking about it, and people didn't realize that this wasn't a actual person, but somebody, the voice created from AI, because the person, Nikki Jones, who is the creator of this, she doesn't sing, but she said the words are hers. So she's basically used AI to create this whole person, this persona. She has a look, kind of like a little backstory. And it's now, her music is finally cracked the Billboard radio charts, and she has a multi-million-dollar recording deal with Howard Media. So I say all this to say, I don't think this is too unexpected from where we are with AI and the way people have kind of come into AI. But is this kind of taking some of the, I guess, the creativity out of arts, or is this just a new way of creativity?
It takes the vocals out of entertainment, because if she is just singing by text prompt, lit- like what she's doing is she has poems, she has literature that she has written for a
Mm-hmm.
while, and she is typing literally or figuratively typing that into a text prompt,
Mm-hmm.
and this avatar is singing the songs. I mean, it ain't really AI because it's not completely generated, meaning that, well, I guess it's no different than feeding words into an AI generator and it produces
An
lyrics.
essay or something. Yeah.
Right, or it produces lyrics, but it
Yeah.
takes the vocals out of it. The whole point
Yeah.
of singing is to put your mouth up to a mic and use your natural talent to sing. If she can just, or if I, let me, crack open an AI book and lock myself in a room for 6 months, I can become a hip hop artist. And that kind of takes the art, again, I'm not saying it's not art because she has poems, she has stuff that she's written that is
Mm-hmm.
considered artwork, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not vocals, right? I think the whole lure of singing is, ooh, I want to witness how vocally talented you are. And
Mm-hmm.
that separates the superstars from the not superstars.
Yeah.
And if anybody can do it, that means everybody can do it. That means nobody can do it. And that kind of loses the lure of
Mm-hmm.
going to see somebody, well, not even going, listening to somebody because of their vocal talents.
Mm-hmm.
If you ain't got no vocal talent, but I guess that's how music is going now because some of these some of these folks out here right
With
now
the
can
auto
sing.
tune, with all
Yeah.
of the
So I guess it ain't no
overlays
different.
and stuff.
I get if I lay tracks down and an engineer can pitch and tune my voice
Mm-hmm.
perfectly, how is that any different than this young lady typing into a text prompt and it generating vocals? I
I
guess it ain't different.
think I think probably to me the biggest difference is, at least if you are tweaking an actual person's voice, you
Mhm.
have some sort of human intervention that you're manufacturing, that you're not manufacturing, that you're tweaking, that you're improving, that you're changing. But to start from scratch with a voice that's completely made up. And my other thing is, who are the basis of these voices? Because sure, you can create music, you can create things, but at the same time, that's the thing that's kind of like the really head game. Because if you're typing this into an LLM, they have to have some source of foundation to create a voice, to create a sound. Because if you go into your text prompt and say, create me a audio file of a song, of an R&B song talking about heartbreak, where they're pulling that, the sound, the inflections, the tone, they're pulling it from some source, right?
Not, I don't think not necessarily, because if you know music, then you know keys,
Mm-hmm.
and you know if you're an alto versus a tenor versus a soprano. I'm pretty sure you could type in, "Give me a soprano in the key in C sharp or something," and using that information, make it a female, make her in her 20s, and I'm pretty sure that thing can scrape the internet and find a black artist in her 20s in C sharp as a soprano. I'm just making all this up, right?
Yeah.
And then that prevents that creates the bass line. And
But
then from
how
there, you change up the pitch, you change up the vibrato, you change up the falsetto, and then you tweak it until you get this voice.
but my thing is, how what's the determining input that says if you specifically want a male or female? How are you manipulating, say, chords from a piano? How would you manipulate that to sound like an actual
Maybe
person's
that's the secret sauce that
voice?
she got. Maybe that's the hook that you know that makes
Maybe.
her special that people won't be able to replicate anytime soon. Now, I'm pretty sure now that she's out and she's got this multi-million dollar deal,
People are gonna
everybody and
jump
their
on it.
mama is going to do it,
Yeah.
and it's going to flood and saturate the market,
Yeah.
which technically ain't no different than real people flooding and saturating the market.
With all this mumble rap that they all sound the same.
Well, just people, entertainers who are not
Yeah.
really vocalists, right?
Yeah.
That's been the whole back and forth with R&B,
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah.
It's, are you an entertainer?
Or you're
Are
a
you a
vocalist.
vocalist? Right?
Yeah.
This is kind of like, I ain't either. Well, I'm an entertainer because I can put out music, but vocalist, you can forget about that. I'm a text prompt.
I'm a text promptist.
Yeah, whatever.
And so I thought this was very.
But the lady saying I look at her as a real person. It's like, all right, come on.
That's weird.
Come on. Let's keep it a buck. Just say
she's an extension of me.
No, just say, look, I learned enough AI in order to generate this person. Now this person has gone on to do these things. And that's the extent of it. Let's relax.
But I think people, and I think probably the more this becomes popular, we've seen how, what's the word? How people, think these chatbots are their best friends, are their partners. I could really see how she could see this thing as a real person, because in her mind, she's had conversations, and
this is marketing and promotion, so people don't feel like they're listening to an AI voice. If you say, oh, this is an extension of me, and this is my thoughts, and these are my revelations, and this is my pain, and this is my struggle, you want people to relate.
Right.
I can't relate to an AI voice, but I can relate to a person who feels this attachment to this thing that they have created, and now they want to share with everybody. So now indirectly, I'm getting this person because they put all this passion. Relax. Come on now.
Because I think it's definitely the change in generation, because people that we grew up with music, you see the conversation always happen. You're like, we don't have singers who grew up in the church anymore. And you don't feel like there are certain songs, certain artists that when they sing, you feel kind of like a human level, like connection. Their voice just kind of, hits whatever chord in your brain that, makes that connection. And I think with a lot of the music, that you can tell is highly produced and highly manufactured, this is kind of in line with that. And it's losing kind of like that, when Whitney Houston sang the Star Spangled Banner. Right. I mean, those types of things.
But how long ago was that? That was in the 80s, right?
80s, right. So that's what I'm saying. Music that that's what I'm saying. The music that we grew up with, music that we knew, music that we heard, we were able to build those kind of connections. And I don't think the way that music has gone since then and later then has that same kind of connection. I think that's why people are so easily able to, I guess, be pulled in by these AI artists, because honestly, it just doesn't kind of have like the same type of soul to it.
But they don't, that's the thing. The only thing is constant is change.
Yeah.
Things are changing.
Yeah.
These kids don't care about all that.
Nope.
They just want it on
to sound good.
They want it queued up on their iPod. On their iPhones and their Androids and their computers and their tablets.
Yep.
And that's all they care about.
That's all they care about.
We gonna have to step aside and let these young kids do it.
Let the youngins have it.
Right. Now we're gonna have to step aside and let the computers do it.
Yeah. Sounds like it. That's gonna wrap it up for Second String. Let's head on even to For the Culture to talk about what's been going on around us. I know that you aren't on Twitter, but I think in the wake of the things that are going on with Snap and people not, having the funds to feed their families, there was this debate on Twitter where this guy posted, one rotisserie chicken should be able to feed a family of 4 for 2 to 3 days. Day 1, the meat, a cheap side like rice and vegetable like a salad. Day 2, the scraps of the meat for chicken on top of a salad or a chicken pot pie. Day 3, third day, take the carcass of the chicken and make chicken stock. Buy veggies on sale. Make chicken soup. Pour it over rice. This conversation went on for, I swear to you, 2 solid days. And people are still talking about it. And
So what are they saying? Are they saying you can't do all that with a rotisserie chicken?
yes, they're saying you can't do all that with, you can't feed 4 people for 3 days off of one rotisserie chicken from Publix. Then there are people talking about, well, y'all just don't know what you're doing. There are other people who's like, it's not possible. Then it was people with jokes. So it was really an interesting conversation. It was definitely some, what's the word? Elitist conversations come out of it. It was definitely some, y'all ain't never been poor conversations out of it. But it went on for a couple of days about can a single rotisserie chicken feed a family of 4
Let's see, that's a
for
terrible,
2 to 3 days.
That is a dumb argument to have. The better argument would be which one of these store-bought rotisserie chickens is the best. Is it Publix? Is it Costco? Is it Walmart? Is it Sam's Club? Is it Aldi's? Is it Giant? Is it all
Sprouts,
whatever, Whole Foods, whatever the case may be? If they put out a rotisserie chicken that all you got to do is either eat it or heat it up and then eat it, then now we're talking. Now we're talking a good argument to have, because I have a favorite and I'm pretty sure other people have a favorite. That will make a better conversation rather than how many or how many people you can feed and what different types of recipes or dishes that you can make with just one chicken. It's like that's what we're arguing about. We got all this stuff happening and y'all arguing back and forth about yes you can or no you can't feed these many people and make these many dishes off of just one rotisserie chicken. It's like, that's what y'all doing? I'm glad I'm off Twitter.
Yeah. This is what they're doing. I'm telling you, this went on. Somebody just, replied to the original tweet 2 hours ago. So it was one of those things where it started off kind of funny because, banter, how Twitter can be. And then, of course, you got to have, people come in and try and poo-poo it and try and ruin the fun. But I think the guy who originally wrote it, I think he was not on some joke stuff, but on like some serious stuff. Like I said, talking about, because there's been a lot of people posting content about how you can make a meal stretch because people, again, have lost their SNAP benefits. So it sounds like the person who started this, looking at some of his follow-up comments, was meant as something to be like, hey, this is an alternative that you can do if you are out of your SNAP benefits. And then it just kind of devolved into, what you talking about, man? You can't do that. That don't take da-da-da.
If you ain't got a choice, yes, you do. And I think that's what people are missing. There are people who are so used to eating so much that they cannot fathom doing anything with less.
Yeah. So
I see the argument, but again, I can agree with some people who are saying, well, you've never been poor, because if you are poor, you can make anything stretch, end of story, right? You ain't got no choice but to make it stretch. So you will make it stretch, no matter how many people you got, no matter how many rotisserie chickens you got. So overarching, I think that's the statement.
The takeaway.
Yeah, or the takeaway. Anybody else, you ain't never been poor, right?
Yeah.
I will agree. I'll co-sign that sentiment.
I just thought that was, after seeing it kind of floating around for the last few days, was an interesting concept as we kind of put that in the context of what's going on around us in the world with people losing their SNAP benefits and such. I think that's it for what I have for the culture. Do we have a hookup this week?
Nope. I've been too busy in my bathroom to be trying to dig up
hookups.
And research it and figure out the best way to do it and have the instructions down pat. So it's like, Nope, no hookup for this week.
Easy one. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. Make sure you update your devices. If you don't care about the features, because we talked about there weren't a whole lot of features, update it for the vulnerability and the security fixes. Do that today. All right. That's going to wrap up the show this week. Brother Tech, where can the people find you?
Sure, you can find me all over the internet at Brother Tech. That's BROTHATECH.
And you can find me at Tech Savvy Diva all over the internet. You can also find our show at snobOS Cast all over the internet as well. You can also head on over to our website, snoboscast.com, to connect, comment, to share, to support the show, and get all the other details surrounding that. And that's going to wrap it up. And we will see you guys next week.
Peace.
Bye, everybody.